University is now open. The audience is requested to remain standing for the opening of my ceremony, and it is my pleasure to welcome the President of Kansas Wesleyan University, Dr. Matt Thompson.
Good afternoon. It is my extreme pleasure to be the President of Kansas Wesleyan. And who couldn't be proud when you look out on a group of graduates and faculty and staff like we have at Kansas Wesleyan. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates. I invite you now to remain standing for the invocation delivered by Reverend David Watson, Senior Pastor of the Salina First United Methodist Church and a member of the Kansas Wesleyan Board of Trustees. We appreciate Reverend Watson serving for us today when Chaplain Rose was called away on a personal engagement. Following the invocation, I invite Professor Kennacotta and the Kansas Wesleyan Chorale to lead us in the singing of the National Anthem, accompanied by the Kansas Wesleyan Orchestra under the direction of Professor Sarah Bernard Stevens.
Let us pray. God, today is like any other day. The sun rises, the winds blow, rain falls, rain does not fall. People are born, they laugh, they cry, they dance, they die. Today is like any other day. And yet today is also fresh and new, and like no other day. It is a moment of opportunity that has come and will pass in a moment. Today is a gift from you, dear God. Grant us grace to see it and seize it. We call today a graduation, a passage, a completion, an inauguration, and so it is. We pray today for all those who have met the challenge and kept the faith to the commitments of their studies. Go with them today and into all their tomorrows, and as one door closes, open to them the next. This we ask of you, O God, acknowledging that we call you by many different names and worship you in many different ways. Yet we ask this, our prayer, in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
First, let me introduce members of the University Board of Trustees. Trustees, I ask you to please stand when I introduce you. Marla Beekman, Larry Brittingham, Deborah Cox, Steve Rivers, Charlie Grimwood, Lucy Larson, Dennis Lauber, Byron Norris, Randy Sinclair, and David Watson. introduce other members of the cabinet who are present, seated in the VIP section behind the faculty. Dr. Mark Bandre, Vice President for Enrollment Management. Mr. Bill Grievous, Vice President for Institutional Advancement. Mr. Mike Herman, Athletic Director. Mr. Darrell Victory, Director of Plant Operations. Professor John Burchill, 2013-14 Faculty Presiding Officer. And Ms. Jan Shirk, Executive Assistant to the President. Welcome. And now I'm pleased to introduce members of the platform party. Mr. Randy Sinclair, Chair of the Board of Trustees of Kansas Wesleyan and a graduate. Ms. Amanda Montgomery Gutierrez, our Commencement Speaker. Dr. Wayne Lowen, Executive Vice President and Provost. Reverend David Watson, Senior Pastor at Salina United Methodist Church. Ms. Krista Lowe, Registrar and Kansas Wesleyan alumna. Ms. Bridget Weiser, Executive Director of Student Development. Ms. Carissa Swenson, Student Services Assistant and a Kansas Wesleyan alumna. Professor Daniel Boats, Professor of Business and Director of the MBA program. And Professor Monty Shadwick, Assistant Professor and Coordinator of the MBA program. I also extend a warm welcome to members of Mrs. Gutierrez's family who are in attendance with us today. Her husband, Jerry, their children, Maria and Anna, and her parents, the Reverend Wayne and Mrs. Norma Montgomery. Welcome. So glad you're with us today. Graduates, today you're joining the ranks of alumni more than 10,000 strong around the world. At this time, I invite all graduates of Kansas Wesleyan to please stand and be recognized. Welcome. I now invite Mr. Randy Sinclair, the chairperson of the Kansas Wesleyan Board of Trustees, to deliver greetings from the board. Mr. Sinclair is a 1966 graduate of Kansas Wesleyan and is in his second full term serving as a member of the Board of Trustees, now completing 16 years of service. During the past 46 years, we've been served by 7 board chairs who have also been graduates of Kansas Wesleyan. Mr. Sinclair will be followed by Professor John Burchill, the faculty greetings, Ms. Rebecca Lynn, President of the senior class. Following a special musical presentation, Ms. Hannah Holt, a member of the graduating class, will introduce our commencement speaker.
Good afternoon. This is a great day. I'm very excited to be here. It is my great honor and privilege to represent the Kansas Wesleyan University Board of Trustees this afternoon and offer our greetings and appreciation to all of you. Faculty, staff, administration, family, guests and friends, and most especially, the class of 2014, our 127th graduation class. We are so proud of you. Your efforts, for your resilience, for your perseverance, and certainly for all of your many accomplishments, many of which were recognized last night at the Honors and Awards Convocation. When these exercises end in an hour or so, my guess is you will be caught between the past and future tenses of your life, looking back at what's brought you to this point and ahead to the proverbial next steps. Your education here at Kansas Wesleyan has included first and foremost the rigor and challenge of the classroom under the guidance and leadership of our wonderful faculty. They are sitting appropriately and symbolically behind you this afternoon. They've got your back. Of course, there have been a myriad of other educational opportunities for you here at Kansas Wesleyan, which have enriched your educational experience and deepened your personal and spiritual development. In a letter to her son and future President John Quincy, Abigail Adams, the wife of our second President John, wrote, "Great learning and superior abilities will be of little importance unless virtue, honor, truth, and integrity are added to them." Abigail must have known about Kansas Wesleyan. where education includes more than just going to class. Your walk across the stage isn't far off now, and the world with its complexities and difficulties, its opportunities and excitement awaits. It's time to bring rigor to the rhetoric, to just do it, as the old Nike ads used to say, to get out of the boat, as Rudo said this morning in Baccalaureate. In the Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle wrote, we learn by actually doing. 2,300 years ago, he said a person becomes a builder by building, a harp player by playing the harp. In the same way, by doing just acts, we come to be just. By doing self-controlled acts, we come to be self-controlled, and by doing brave acts, we come to be brave. Your skills and abilities are needed, but so is your honor and your integrity and your bravery. Thank you for your willingness to give life to the full breadth of your Kansas Wesleyan educational experience as you take your next steps. And thank you to the family and friends here today who have provided foundation and encouragement and support, and who share in the meaning and accomplishment of this afternoon. And to the Wesleyan family, faculty, staff, administration, all of you, we are so grateful for the depth of your commitment to these graduates and all of our students. Thank you to all who have contributed to this moment, and congratulations to the Kansas Wesleyan class of 2014. Go and be world changers.
Good afternoon. It's my privilege to give you greetings from the faculty of Kansas Wesleyan University. At the start of this school year, I had the privilege of addressing the new freshman class. And at that ceremony, I told them what I believe to be the origin of our mascot, the coyote, and the term the den, from an early pioneer in Salina who lived at the south end by the name of Tommy Thorne, nicknamed Coyote. His dugout home was known as the den, and he was off to tell the travelers that the power of the coyote. And that was the message that I gave the freshmen. But you're our seniors. You've been with us for a long time. I need to tell you the rest of the story. It's true that the power of the coyote lies in the pack, but the power of the pack lies in the coyote. There are times in every pack when coyotes will leave and form new packs. You are leaving this pack and starting your own. You're bringing with you the power that has surrounded you and has been entrusted by faculty to you. Recognize that power. Use that power to make this world better. And please stay in touch with your faculty, because we want to enjoy your successes in the future. So on behalf of the faculty, as you leave the pack and start your own, remember, Kansas Wesleyan was at the center. Good luck and congratulations.
This is the day we thought would never come, yet somehow here it is sooner than we expected. We came to Kansas Wesleyan University not knowing what to expect, but what we got here were lifelong friendships, good laughs, life lessons, and a wonderful education. Now, this is where we put on our big boy and big girl pants, go into the real world, dealing with any curveball that gets thrown our way. So thanks to all the administration, staff, faculty, and our family who guided us and believed us through all our trials and tribulations. All that's left to say is, we did it. Keep striving for greatness, and as everyone has said this weekend, we can change the world. So let's go out there and do it. Let's walk the stage and see what opportunities are in store for us. Congratulations to us, the class of 2014.
Amanda Gutierrez graduated from Kansas Wesleyan University in 1992 with a bachelor's degree in business and received a master's degree in 1995 from Friends University in Wichita. She currently serves as the Vice President for Automotive Restoration at McPherson College, leading the fundraising, promotion, academic, and career service components of the program. She works with high-end car collectors, restoration specialists, and industry leaders across the country. A native of Salina, Amanda has volunteered on the Greater Salina Community Foundation Board, campaign committees for United Way, and has served on the McPherson College Board of Trustees. She is also a member of the McPherson Rotary Club and an active member at First University United Methodist Church in Salina. A car enthusiast, Amanda has participated in Salina Run What You Brung drag race and annually attends the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Please help me welcome back Amanda Gutierrez.
I remember when I was 6 years old, walking across this campus with my dad. We made our way up the staircase in Pioneer Hall, me with one hand on that big wooden banister and the other clinging to my dad's hand. We went to his second floor office where I would chalk on the blackboard while he graded papers, and it was a great place to be. 12 years later, I made that same trek up those stairs as a freshman, headed to my English class on the 3rd floor. This time, nobody was holding my hand. It was there that I met the first of several lifelong friends and began my journey as a college student. It was a great place to be. Thank you, Dr. Thompson, and members of the Board of Trustees for inviting me to be a part of this special occasion. I am humbled and moved to be back here at my alma mater and to be celebrating this day with you all. It's still a great place to be. This morning, those of you who were at Baccalaureate heard Cammie relate life to whitewater rafting and a jungle, and Rudo talked about sailing and how that illustrated life. Well, as you heard in my bio, my world right now kind of centers around cars. So this is a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. I would have brought the real one, but there wasn't room on the podium. But it's a scale model of one that a friend of mine owns. And it runs on an internal combustion engine. The principle behind it is that if you put a high-energy fuel in a small, enclosed space, and you add pressure to it, some compression, it ignites, it sparks, releasing an incredible amount of energy. You can propel a potato, a rocket, a 57 Chevy. And I think there are parallels to that in life, because today you're in the first stage of that cycle. The choices you've made to this point are your fuel. How you respond to the pressure in life, the pressure of being a graduate out in the real world, determines if you stall out or spark. If you stall out, you'll try again. How many of you have turned that engine and you keep trying, right? You'll keep trying. But if you spark, you'll be set into motion. It's a cycle that happens throughout your life. The choices you make matter. Each one of you made a choice to come to Kansas Wesleyan, to continue your education with different reasons and motivations for coming. But you all made that choice. In 1987, it was a choice that I made as well. Now, if I'd been able to take a selfie back then in 1987, when I was sitting up on that 3rd floor in my English class, and neither selfies or Facebook or Instagram existed then, cell phones barely did. But if I had taken a picture of myself at that stage in life, you would have seen a tall, gangly girl with big 90s, late 80s hair and mall bangs. I had no plans. I had no expectations of what I was going to learn at Wesleyan. I was just taking it day by day. Now, a few years later, when I graduated, my selfie would have been completely different. Just like who you are today is different from who you were when you came to Wesleyan. The choices that you and I made and the experiences we had here, though decades apart, opened us to new understandings of ourselves and of our world. And for me, the choice to come to Wesleyan created possibilities down the road that I never could have imagined. If you were to take a selfie today and post it to Instagram or Facebook, maybe you already have, what would you see? Someone whose next steps are clear? Maybe not. Maybe you're still considering the possibilities and trying to figure things out. And that's okay, because at age 22, 34, 44, 55, 75, the picture should be different from what it is today. I have every expectation that mine will continue to change and develop, and I hope that yours does too. So every commencement speaker has advice to share. It's part of what we're supposed to do, to share things we've learned or things we wish that we had known when we were sitting in those seats. As my kids will attest to, I love to be asked to give advice, and my original list was long, and so was my speech. But to be respectful of time, I know you want to get to the diploma part of the ceremony. I've condensed a lot of advice into 3 points and one very strong suggestion. The first point is to ditch the drama in your workplace, in your friendships, and in your family. Because once drama starts, it has a tendency to escalate, and that leads to chaos and sometimes irreparable damage. Choose your words and your responses carefully. It's hard enough to have productive, healthy relationships, but if you're constantly putting out fires, it's even harder, so avoid them in the first place. Relationships are important, so do your part to keep them balanced and strong. In the book Reconstructing Amelia, one of the characters shares some good advice. Surround yourself with people who know the world is a darker place without you in it. Who you surround yourself with impacts who you are and who you become. Stay away from people who drag you down with destructive behaviors, negative attitudes, demeaning words, or other kinds of mistreatment. Find a partner who encourages you, who will grow with you and is committed to your relationship. Seek out friends who are genuine, open, and trustworthy. And be the kind of friend, spouse, employee, be the kind of person that you would want in your life. And ditch the drama, because the world has enough of it. My second piece of advice is to figure out how faith fits. To paraphrase something that a friend of mine often says to his kids as they are parting, remember who you are and whose you are. Whatever you believe or don't believe or are struggling to make sense of, finding a faith community that fits you and a place that you can serve will feed your soul. I believe it's important as human beings that we continue to explore our spiritual nature. Seek a place where you feel safe expressing your beliefs, sharing your doubts, and expressing your thoughts. I'm continually challenged and blessed and inspired by my pastor and my friends. They keep me on an even keel when life gets out of balance. Everyone needs that perspective of how we fit in the world and where we belong, and a family of faith can help you do just that. My third piece of advice, be brave enough to be yourself, which may be something that's totally different from what others expect of you. To illustrate this point, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my job. It's not what anybody, including me, could have mapped out for my future. I lead a program that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. It's a bachelor's degree program that teaches students historic vehicle restoration on cars from the late 1800s through the early 70s. Students learn history, business, design, technology, and craftsmanship. 3 years ago, I was running the advancement office, and I liked my job, but I didn't feel like it was the best fit for me. The spark was missing. One of my direct reports was an automotive restoration promotions person, so I needed to be more involved in and aware of what was happening in that department. Although I'd grown up on motorcycles and I had a big brother who raced motocross, I was far from being a car guy. Yet I became intrigued by the program and by the students' stories about what drew them to our school and how our graduates could impact an industry with what they were learning. Then a friend of our restoration program, John Prather, invited me to attend the Run What You Brung drag races. I know it's horrible grammar, I'm sorry to the English professors out there. The Run What You Brung. But essentially, anybody can bring a car and they race it on an 1/8 mile drag strip. So one minute I was standing in the pits talking to some people, and the next thing I knew, I was at the starting line, sitting in the driver's seat of my friend's '57 Chevy, and then racing down the old airport road at a crazy fast speed. And it was over in an instant. And when I was done, I just wanted to do it again. I felt like Ricky Bobby, which is embarrassing to admit. I want to go fast, I want to go fast. But that was exactly the exhilaration, that spark that I had. And you know, I don't know or I don't care if I beat the guy next to me, but a spark had ignited. And what had initially been an interest had become a mission. It all came together. How I could contribute my skills to help make this program a center of excellence. I asked the president of our college to put me in charge of the restoration program, and much to my surprise, he was on board. I was terrified, again, not a car guy, but I was thrilled, and I had found the courage to be brave enough to be myself. It was where I belonged. I share that long, self-absorbed story because I believe the skills I learned at Wesleyan, coupled with the experiences in the workplace afterward, equipped me to take that leap of faith, to believe that I could do this job, something I couldn't have ever imagined or planned for. It's thrilling. Jay Leno calls me, and that's exciting. And when we see each other at car events, he remembers my name, and that's exciting. But I have to say that that is not what makes my job a great job, or what brings me fulfillment. It's that I was brave enough to be myself and ended up where I would never have expected. We can't really ever know where life will lead, because so much is out of our control. A conflict halfway around the world can send our economy reeling, companies close, and jobs are lost. Technology is changing so fast that within your lifetime, scientists will be able to create a functioning kidney or heart from a 3D printer, saving multiple lives. How we communicate today will be different in 3 or 5 or 10 years. There's just a lot of uncertainty and a lot we just can't know. Yet there are some things we know for certain. We know that in our lifetime we will experience great and abundant joy. We also know that we will experience heartbreak and loss. There will be opportunities that come our way, and there will be challenges that get in our way. That's life. But there's something else that we know and that you shouldn't forget. Regardless of what happens in life, you have the tools to take it on. As a liberal arts student, you've learned to process, to think critically, to live and work in community, and maybe most importantly, you've learned how to learn. If you need to figure something out, you can. If you need to learn more, and you will need to learn more, you can. If you need to work on a team, you know how. And if you need help, you can find the resources that you need. Whatever life throws at you, you can adapt. You're ready. Charles Whelan, in his book, 10.5 Things No Commencement Speaker Ever Said, actually said to a group of graduates, "We graduated, as will you, perfectly equipped to deal with nothing, and yet we left well equipped to deal with everything." And he's right. You've been given the tools to deal with life, and the choices that you make, how you fuel your engine, determines how your success is shaped and defined. So 3 pieces of advice. Relationships are important. Don't add to the drama. Figure out how faith fits, and be brave enough to be yourselves. Now my strong suggestion. Stay connected to Kansas Wesleyan. Today, after you walk across the stage and receive your diploma, the ties aren't severed, and the relationship doesn't end. In this room and all across this campus are people who care about you, people who have invested time, love, and energy into you. Find those people who have influenced you and make sure that you thank them. I think of many people who influenced me when I was a student, but Consuelo Diaz, my Spanish professor, is a great example. No hablo español muy bien, but she tried. And she taught me so much more than Spanish. She taught me about poetry, about music, love, and life. And she became a part of who I am, just like this community is a part of who you are and always will be. So when you're asked to volunteer, step up. When you're asked to give what you are able. When you're asked to come home to Wesleyan, come back. Because wherever you go, whatever you do, you will always be a coyote. We look forward to seeing what you do next. Congratulations, graduates.
Amanda, one of the great pleasures of being the president is you get to choose who gives the final lesson at commencement. And thank you for that amazing final lesson for our graduates today. I now invite Provost Lowen to come forward for a special recognition. As most of you know, Dr. Lowen is retiring in a few weeks, so today marks Dr. Lowen's final commencement in his professional career. This is a significant moment for a man who has spent 3 years as our provost, 1 year as our interim president at Kansas Wesleyan, 14 years as president of Florida Christian College from 1987 to 2011, and a career spanning 41 years in various roles in higher education. Dr. Lowen, in some ways today is your commencement as well. You have studied, you have served, and you have led. Now, like our graduates, you enter the next chapter of your life. During the last year and a half, Dr. Lowen has been a trusted colleague and mentor to me. I will miss your calm presence, your commitment to our students and faculty, and your wisdom and deep understanding of higher education. On behalf of the students, faculty, staff, administration, alumni, and trustees, I'm proud to present you with this framed print of the Hall of Pioneers.
Each year, Kansas Wesleyan University refers to University data on the graduating seniors with the highest GPA. Will the following students please come forward? Abigail Anderson, a 4.0 GPA. And Melanie Mann, a 4.0 GPA. The Professor Frank Bar Leadership Award is presented to graduating seniors at select private universities in Kansas. The award is named after Professor Frank Bar, who served as Dean of the College of Business at Wichita State University, and who was the founder of the Jabbar Center for Entrepreneurship. The criteria for this award are based on entrepreneurial traits and activities, as well as leadership, especially with regard to business creation. I'm pleased to announce that there are 2 Kansas Wesleyan University recipients of this award for 2014. In addition to a Crystal Award and a letter of recognition, each recipient will receive a check in the amount of $1,000. I now ask that Harley Cole and Gus Alvarez come forward and receive their award. Mr. President, I have the honor of presenting candidates for the degree, Master of Business
Administration. Will the candidates for that degree please rise?
By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Kansas Wesleyan University as its president, and with the recommendation of the faculty and approval of the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you the degree Master of Business Administration, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto.
You may be seated. Mr. President, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Will the candidates for those degrees please rise?
By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Kansas Wesleyan University as its president, and with the recommendation of the faculty and the approval of the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Science in Nursing, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto.
You may now move your tassel from the right to the left front quarter of your cap. And you may be seated. I would ask that Ms. Lowe, Ms. Swinson, Ms. Weiser, and the faculty marshals take their place for the awarding of degrees. I also invite Professor Daniel Boats and Professor Monty Shadwick of the MBA program to come forward and assist with the hooding of the recipients of the MBA degree. Faculty marshals, please direct the MBA recipients to the stage.
The graduates for candidates of Masters of Business Administration. Anthony A. Berry. Megan E. Berry. Kayla M. Grace. Aaron L. Hernandez. Melissa Rose Hodges. Theodore Hodges. Nathan Allen Holt. Yu Chun Shea. Young Hee Hong. Cameron Charles Jackson. Courtney B. Johnson. Angela M. Larson. Joseph R.L. Moreno. Casey L. Pierce. Ellie Podor. Erica J. Riffle. Crystal Marie Sanchez. Jamie N. Sheck. Alicia Beth Smith. Stephen Christopher Source. Rachel N. Waddell. Yu Ting Wong. Wen Wen Zhang. Zhang Xi.
That's it. Congratulations to all of our MBA graduates. Faculty Marshals, please direct the Bachelor of Arts, the Bachelor of Science, and the Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree recipients to the stage.
The graduates of Bachelor of Arts. Abigail V. Anderson, summa cum laude. Gustav Samuel Apiquist, cum laude. Devin C. Atkinson. Catherine A. Atkinson. Hannah Drew Babst. Michael Bryce Basinger. Hillary Marie Calloway. Jasmine G. Bloss. Dane D. Brinker. Matthew Lee Brockelman, magna cum laude. Leanne Jean Brown. Abby Rose Brocksterman. Robert Vincent Bircher, cum laude. Christian Marie Cassidy. Lauren Nicole Chamness. Daniel C. Chance, cum laude. Daniel R. Coley. Taylor Jordan Walmart Cook. Jason Dwayne Cooper. Cody L. Crabtree. Caitlin E. Crawford, summa cum laude. Dylan Leon Dillingham. Rudo Tatinda Blessmore Dasva, cum laude. Christina Renee Dunn. Lauren Evans. Connor Burris Freeman. Taylor Shane Freilich. Jose R. Gallegos. Dayon Andre Garner. Sean Matthew Grove. Rayleigh Patricia Hall. Brady Paul Harwell. Kaylee Jean Perry, cum laude. Hannah Lee Holt, cum laude. Agre K. Imbulani. Gracia, magna cum laude. Tia Jane Irwin. Juliana M. Jazzo. Jason E. Johnstad, cum laude. Tevin L. Kendall. Carly Ann Kelly. Aaron Lindsay. Courtney M. Mason. Melanie Rachel Mann, summa cum laude. Zachary P. McLean. Allie Catherine Myers. Anna Elise Nisperos. Monique Arosio. Tyler J. Paulson. Lindy Nicole Peterson, cum laude. Carissa Marie Petty. Mark Porras, cum laude. Tanya Rebecca Powers, magna cum laude. Brandon M. Ramsey. Cammie Lee Rash, magna cum laude. Ricardo Ragoza. Kelton James Reed. Chelsea Lynn Reed. Bryant Reyes. Brock R. Rhodes. Blaine Alexander Ruiz. Omar Sadawi. Adam Claude Schneck. Brianne Austin Schultz. Desiree Marie Walsh. Caitlin Rose Weber. Shelby Taylor Westfall, cum laude. Mary R. White. Chase W. Weedle. Corey Ames Wynn. Marlene Yang. Jacob Tanner York. The graduates of Bachelors of Science, Kendall J. Barlow. Alexis Brooke Bateman. Daniela N. Benton. Jason Scott Berry, cum laude. Eric Dale Bull, cum laude. Dorinda K. Ellis, cum laude. Jake W. Fox, magna cum laude. Brandon C. Gill. Caitlin Marie Hammersky. Chelsea Nicole Hanks, summa cum laude. Chelsea Caitlin Coleman, cum laude. Amber M. Littlefield. Rebecca Nicole Lynn. Hunter J. Staten. Jose Ignacio Valesco. Cassandra Nicole Weiss, magna cum laude. The graduates for Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Marie E. Aker. Paul T. Akumbu. Brooke Marie Berg. Alejandro Vicente Casanova. Madison Lynn Coffey. Mackenzie D. Cox. Colleen Marie Dries. Taylor L. Ebert, cum laude. Caitlin Nicole Fide. Erin Elizabeth Gilmore. Semhar Connie Harrington. Amanda Elizabeth Izula Hilbert, cum laude. Linda Jones, magna cum laude. Jonna Lynn Clohawker, cum laude. Neka Shani Lewis. Alexis Lynette Lightsey. Jasmine Marte. Sherry R. Ott, cum laude. Lacey K. Paul. Alicia Ruth Pierce. Christina Hallie Reinbold. Jordan Lynn Sherwood, cum laude. Madison M. Shields. Sarah Jane Sixkiller. Caitlin Renee Slide. Sebley Tapasi. Saki Tomita. Win Tin Tai Tron. Jamie Elizabeth Urban, cum laude. Sarah E. Winholtz, cum laude.
us now collectively congratulate our graduates. On Good Friday, 3 weeks ago, Kansas Wesleyan lost a loyal friend, co-worker, and champion when Shannon Christopher Boats passed away. The community continues to mourn this loss. Through a unanimous vote of the faculty and approval of the Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to present an honorary degree for Shannon to his family as a token of affection and a gesture of appreciation for the important role he played on campus. Shannon's memory will live on through the Shannon Boats Scholarship that his family and friends have established at Kansas Wesleyan University. Brad and Jane, as Shannon's parents, please accept the honorary degree for Shannon from Kansas Wesleyan with a grateful heart. I ask that you remain standing. I ask you to please stand for the singing of the Alma Mater found in your program, and remain standing following that for the benediction, the closing of the ceremony, and the recessional. I'd like to invite Chelsea Hanks and Chelsea Coleman to lead us in the singing of the Alma Mater.
Oh, Wesleyan, dear Wesleyan, the days may come, the days may go, but still our hearts in memory cling to those glorious days of long ago. The colors drops, the student race, the calls we made at Schuyler Hall, the picnics on the smoky slates,
indeed have come and gone, and now so must we. But whether we are near or far away, we'll not forget dear Wesleyan. May it ever remain a lively center of sound learning, new discovery, and the pursuit of wisdom. May all who teach and all who continue to learn here find you to be the source of all truth. And may we all go forth now, spiritually alive and socially responsible, to serve God and neighbor in all that we do. Amen.
I declare that this 2014 commencement ceremony of Kansas Wesleyan University is now closed. The audience is requested to stand and remain in place until the academic procession has left the arena. Please join the graduates, family, and friends for a reception in Muir Gymnasium directly east of this arena immediately following the recessional. Thank you.